We don't expect them to violate an agreement. So it is an agreement that is it's being violated time and again. So that is the point to note, that if you are violating the agreement, then we reserve the right to take any action that we deem fit.
So this agreement was signed, decades ago. But how do you, as an army chief, tell your men to defend a hot border with no weapons? How are you going to instill in your men and women now that confidence to? There's a hot border. You have an enemy which is coming at you. How do you defend it?
So I will like to clarify, when you say no weapons, we carry weapons. It is not that weapons are not carried. But that is where our men have to exercise great restraint, that in the face of provocation not to fire, because we are, as gentlemen, following the agreement. But when the enemy or when the PLA was violating these agreements, then we also told them that if they are violating, then you are free to take whatever actions you want to take in your self-defense.
What is the weapon that is carried, if I may ask, and where is it carried? Is it carried on the body of the soldier who's there,
Yes,
or
yes.
is
When
it
you go for a patrol, you go totally armed and expecting the worst.
a firearm?
Yes, a firearm. You carry your rifles, you carry your light machine guns, you carry your ammunition. You are ready to meet any eventuality. It's not that you'd go patrolling with just dandas in your hand. Not that.
Okay.
So there was somewhere it came that the Indian troops were unarmed. I'm sorry, that is not a correct statement which came or report which came at that point. Every patrol which goes ready to meet any eventuality. They're armed as per the laid down scales and as per the patrol that they're going for, and they were equipped also accordingly. If their patrol has to cross some water obstacle, they will be carrying their expedients to cross that water obstacle or that river or nala. They just don't go as if they're going for a picnic.
Right. So it's a little hard for us to understand that that an Indian soldier is carrying a weapon. He sees his unit chief being killed and doesn't use his weapon. That is why there was this outrage that how. Why?
Yeah, so although we did not fire, we also resorted in a similar vein. So you see that it was always a question of who will open fire first. So since we felt that we had the measure of the PLA troops over there, we also countered them in the same way that they were sort of taking action against us, which was basically by the use of non-lethal, that means not actually firing, although casualties did occur by other things that, so if they were carrying sticks, then we were also carrying sticks.
And sir, we have, after the first instance where they used the barbed wire clubs and all these things, we have also now started using the such sticks with spikes and all.
See, we would still like to maintain that we are a 21st century army. To start going back to clubs and barbed wires is going back to prehistoric times. I think it is a very regressive way of going. We would still like to maintain that we, in warfare also there are certain rules. It is not that you just do whatever that you want to do.
Right.
So we would still like to maintain a professional stance, and therefore rather than resort to wielding clubs, we rather open fire. That is how our army fights.
Correct.
By using the weapons at their disposal and not getting into fisticuffs.
Is there any other parallel in the world where two armies or two neighbors have decided that we will use these clubs and monkey, what is it called? Monkey web, something it is called.
So that is precisely what I'm saying. Are we hooligans? Are we mafia? Or are we a professional army? Is that the level that PLA has gone down to?
Yeah.
Hooliganism and street fighting? Or are they a professional 21st century army? On one side, they try to show their technological prowess. On the other side, they're coming with barbed wire clubs. It is ridiculous.
So, sir,
हमने भी तो
did you laugh at them when they were wielding mace and
Yes,
those
yes,
bhalas?
of course, it was so regressive. There's no other word for it.
Yeah. But Jain Sahab, 15 June 2020, you get information, or at least we got information, that Colonel Santosh Babu and his men died in action. You might have got it a couple of hours before we did. What went through your mind at that stage?
See, any casualty, of course, hurts you. You're as the chief, not only as the chief, as a battalion commander, as a brigade commander. Every man is your man. Is your son or daughter. So any such information or news that comes, obviously you feel a little saddened by this kind. But on the other hand, you also feel that yes, what they have done is in the line of duty, and they have certainly given as good as they got, and that is actually the fact. Whether the PLA admits it or not, or whether the Chinese admit it or not, they also gave it back to the enemy. And of course, in any such clash or battle or war, casualties will happen on either side. That's part of the game, if I can say so.
So, but there was also that situation where we had to literally force them to give back the bodies, and we had to give from our side we had to give. What happens there in that situation at that stage? Is there a negotiation which happens that return the bodies of our men who have died, and then we have to give? How does that happen there, sir?
Of course, once the clash has happened and temperatures have cooled down, both literally and in actual fact, then the saner counsel, of course, prevails. The clash is always in the heat of the moment. And later on, when flag meetings were held...
Between DGMOs?
No, between and on the ground.
On the ground.
On the ground, the flag meetings were held. We, of course, facilitated the flag meeting through our official channels, including the diplomatic channels. And on ground, the flag meetings were held at the place where the clashes occurred. And that is where then our men came back, were returned to us.